Great to have my next guest back on the show. You know who it is, Adrian Yanez, who has another big fight, this time against Rob Font at UFC 287 on April the 8th. Adrian, how you doing?
Man, I am doing great. I'm really excited. I'm really happy that I'm about to be back in there against the toughest test of my career. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And we did touch upon this a little bit before we started the interview, but that's where I want to start because I'm sure you wanted to be more active than you were last year. Is there a reason that you didn't fight more than you did, or is it just that the UFC couldn't find you the right opponent?
Yeah, honestly, is pretty much that. The last part, the UFC couldn't find the right opponent, and had gotten turned down a lot as well too. So that was the hard part. And every single time that like someone had called me out, I was sending that to my manager. I was like, "Hey, this guy called me out," and then next thing you know, fight never gets made. I'm like, all right, okay, but yeah, no, only fought once, and then I tried fighting on the MSG card, but things didn't happen. I was told about Font in July, but coming around, like I had no idea, like because I don't keep up with a lot of fighters. I just like in my division, I keep up with everybody else just because I don't want to like these guys too much, and then be like, damn it, it sucks. I gotta fight this guy, even though Rob's a pretty cool guy. But yeah, like I didn't know about his situation or anything that was going on. So uh I found out like about a month or two later, like a month or two later that he wasn't gonna be doing MSG. And I was like, okay, well let's move on. Uh got a couple fight offers and I said yes to all of them. They all on the other side it was turned down. I was like, oh well, it is what it is. So that was the kind of hard part on my end, is just the fact that I was wanting to fight, and uh pretty much just wasn't happening. But I got Font now, and like in December, that's whenever they had us like be like, hey, we can move on with this Font fight. And then in January, that's when we sealed and locked it in. And after that, I was really pushing for it to be UFC San Antonio, but I didn't know at the time that UFC 287 was going to be as big as it was. And come to find out, it's in Miami, right there, the big one of the biggest cards of the year already. Like, and then to me, it was so cool. Everything kind of fell into place perfectly. So I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, this is one of the best pay-per-view cards of the year. There's no doubt about that. One of the guys that I believe called you out was Sugar Sean O'Malley. If you go out there and you beat Rob Font and you beat him decisively, man, I think it would make sense that that could be a potential opponent for you next. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I think that would be 100% like the route that I would like to take, just because I beat him, I take everything, So, uh, I I would want that fight 100%. Uh, but yeah, no, I got to go out there and finish Rob Font in devastating fashion, because for him, he could just possibly just be like, you know what, I'm gonna wait for this title fight. If he doesn't want to stay busy fight, or like something that like keep him entertained in the meanwhile, but yeah, I say that, but I'm like, yeah, I would ruin those plans immediately. but yeah, no, but yeah, I would feel like he would want to wait for the title shot. Realistically, and on my end, me going out there knocking out Brock Font, it would possibly open up that fight as well. But also, man, Cheeto does his thing. If Cheeto gets it done against Corey, then that might be a bigger fight for Cheeto, a bigger fight for Sean to get that fight. So, yeah, it just kind of depends on everything plays out in these next couple of weeks, and seeing where the division's left after May. So that's where also you got to take into account. So, just too many things going on in the 35 division. There's too much going on.
Yeah, I mean, the division is stacked top to bottom. This is probably the best division in the whole UFC. You just mentioned, Cheeto and Sandhagen. So let me ask you, who wins that fight? I believe it's this Saturday.
Oh yeah, that's a tough one. I can't like I keep going back and forth every single time. Uh it's like, man, can Cheeto slow down Corey, and can Corey build up a sizable lead by the time the fourth round comes. So that's that's kind of where I've kind of been at, is if Cheeto doesn't figure out by round three, I believe it's a decision for Corey. But they both are violent fighters, and they both like causing damage. So it's gonna be a fun fight. But it's on my end, whenever I'm watching this, like, I'm not sure who to pick with it because it's a phenomenal fight, and I can't wait to be there live. That's gonna be fun to watch live.
Yeah, I can imagine, man. I can't wait for this weekend's card. The UFC just keeps on putting out absolutely phenomenal cards left after right, whether it's a pay-per-view card or just a fight night card. Let's talk about your last fight because, man, I always do my best to be objective when I'm watching these fights. I interview a lot of you guys, and I have to admit, when you were fighting Tony Kelly and the middle fingers he was flipping off you and everything, I was pacing back and forth in my man cave like I was getting ready to fight myself. What was that like? What were the emotions like? Sum that up for me looking back at it now.
Man, I was pretty cool, calm, and collected. It was the walk to the cage was pretty cool for me because I was walking down, I was like, man, I get to do this. This is cool. Like seeing like these thousands of people in the arena, just like that was the coolest thing in the world for me. Uh and then being in that cage, everything zoned in. I kind of had noticed him flicking people off, doing this and that, like flicking the camera off and all that stuff. And I was just like, just wait, buddy. It was like in my head, I'm just like, just wait. And every single time that I connected with something, he was doing a little smirky, started talking during the fight. And I was like, whenever I get you, bro, I'm going to get you. That was like that was like I was saying that in my head is when I'm gonna get you, when I get you, I'm getting you. Like you don't understand. And that was going through my head the whole entire time. The minute I see that your temperament just changed, I'm going after you. And then it's exactly what happened. And I went from 0 to 100 really quickly.
Yeah, man, you got him out of there. You look great doing it. Another bonus in your back pocket. So life is good for you, man. As far as just the best moment of your career so far, I guess that had to be it, right? I mean, that was in your home state. You had so many people cheering for you there. Is that easily the best moment so far of your career?
Oh, absolutely. So far in my career, 100%. Just because of the crowd reaction afterwards too. It took me a second to realize like the where I was at and where like everything, the feeling of everything. It took me a second because I was still in kill mode. And then the security pushed me off. And then after that, just everything just kind of just like I was like, oh shit. And then everything just started coming in, hearing the crowd, everything at that. It drove me nuts. I was actually more nervous about that than the actual fight itself. That I was like, oh shit, there's so many people around me. Then excitement right afterwards. But yeah, it was cool, man. That was definitely the biggest moment of my career, and hopefully, I'm gonna top that April 8th. Hopefully in the sense that we just don't end up having a boring decision. But I don't feel like this fight makes a boring fight at all.
I think I would have to agree with that. Adrian, you're easily one of the most popular young stars in the whole promotion, right? What has that fame been like for you to kind of, get used to? I'm sure you're getting noticed a lot more when you go out. How difficult has that been?
Man, it honestly it hasn't really been that difficult. Because for me, like, yeah, like it's cool in the sense of it's cool in the sense of like I'm getting more notice and all that stuff, but it's not crazy. It's just like maybe once every once in a while I get yeah, hey, that's Adrian Yanez. Hey, that's cool. The weirdest one was never like uh I walked into the bathroom and there somebody's like, I'm about to use the restroom, and it's like, oh shit, that's Adrian. And luckily that guy was like, hey, no, you're about to use the restroom. I got you. Like, yeah, no worries. So I was like, I'll see you afterwards, but that guy was nowhere to be found. But yeah, no, it's cool. It's been cool. Going to the UFC events though, or going to events around the UFC and fights and all that stuff, that's different. People start like when if you're around the fight scene, that's never ever like that's whenever it starts becoming like, oh, oh my gosh, my anxiety. But outside the normal world, it's fun. It's fun. Like somebody comes up to you, like, hey, this is cool. This is nice. Nice to meet you, Adrian. I'm like, hey, no, man, it's nice to meet you. It's cool. It's cool.
Very, very good. Now, I obviously, the career is going great, but like I said earlier, you haven't fought in a while. So I have to imagine, 2022, you spent a lot of family time. I know you're a father now. What
Mhm.
has that whole journey been like?
Man, it's been absolutely fantastic. There's been a lot of ups and downs in the sense of like me trying to figure out like me how to parent better, because there's a lot of growing that has to be done in that aspect. Like you think that sometimes the old style is a good style, but sometimes you just realize, no, that's not it. So like that learning process is like that's hard. And then also there's gonna be some days you're out of it, but you have to be on it. Like so, there's a lot of things that you have to get up and grow because I've continuously had to learn new things. Like I had to be like, well, I don't want my son to be like this. Like I don't want my son to be how I was in this sense. So I have to change how I go about things now because I have to set the example now. So there's a lot of things. I'm just like, yeah, it's been crazy. It's been hectic. It's been fun. It definitely has been fun because now he's starting to get his own little personality and all that stuff. And I drop him off at daycare. And whenever I drop him off at daycare, on the days I take him, it's more like he can't go with the teacher until he's giving me the hug and a kiss. And I'm like, oh dude, this is like if she tries to grab him before he's giving me a hug and he's just like, nah, this is not happening. He throws fits. I had to give him a hug and I had to give him a tight squeeze. It can't be no regular squeeze. It has to be a tight squeeze, and then he's good for his day. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been enjoyable, man. I've been really loving living this life, and man, I can't wait to the biggest thing too also is crazy is that he's coming along. Me and the family are coming along to Florida, so staying a couple extra days in Florida, gonna take him to the beach, gonna have a little bit of fun time. I'm really excited. I'm excited for the fight, but I'm also really like actually kind of a little bit more excited that I'm bringing my family with me uh to Florida, something that like I didn't get to experience kind of growing up. I was able to go visit family in Mexico, New Mexico. We would go to San Antonio for Six Flags and SeaWorld and all that stuff. But I've only been to New Mexico. I never went to Florida. Got to visit that area. I never got to travel the places that I've gotten down. Being able to travel and bring my family along with me. So this is the coolest part to me is that I get to travel on somebody else's dime and bring my family with me. So that's the coolest part, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, that's fantastic, man. Good for you. Well, it's very well deserved, and I'm sure you'll have many more opportunities. I have to ask, because my wife and I, we're trying to make an addition to our family. We're hoping to have a little one soon. How's the sleep schedule? Because that's what I'm most worried about, is I'm never going to be sleeping.
The first couple months, at least for us, it was great in a sense of like it was a schedule every 2 hours, gotta wake up, gotta feed them. So at least I knew I was gonna get straight 4 hours of sleep. 4 straight hours of sleep, wake up, feed them, stay up for about 30 minutes, put them back down, go right back to sleep. Then it'd be her turn, then it'd be like we were switching on and off. But I will say this, it will be a lot more comfortable for you if the baby is not on formula, because the men get all the benefits of that. But if it's formula, man, like for us, we had formula. Uh I was like, it helps her out because I get to take some of the duties off of that too as well. But yeah, the sleep schedule was good, and luckily for us, he was not a fussy baby. He was just pretty much like cool, calm. There's even now he only wakes up like maybe like once a night, and then he wants to jump into bed with us. But I will say he does wake up early, and he makes sure he makes sure that we know that he's awake. So that's the kicker on it because I got slapped a couple times.
Well, good for
So
you, man.
uh
Definitely. I'm sorry.
oh yeah, so no, so yeah, definitely. I will say this: a piece of advice: get a 3-tier storage container that's rollable, and put stuff in there right next to y'all's bed if y'all are gonna do the bassinet, or right there in the same room for the first 3 nights, because that was so helpful. Instead of having to get up, go to the fridge, go do this, go do that, 100%. recommend.
Okay, noted. I'm going to take your advice on a couple of different things that you said. I'll let you know how that turns out whenever I get to that point. And I wanted to ask you too, because Adrian, my first love as a kid was basketball. I played in college for a couple of years. So I saw on your Instagram that you were on the Houston Rockets court. You had a jersey signed and you had a pair of sneakers that I have as well, the Jordan 1 UNC lows. So nice taste there, my man. How did that all come about? What was that all about?
Yeah, they hit us up and they wanted to have me take the first shot, and that to me was the craziest thing in the world because I was just like, I remember going to a game way back in the day and being in the kind of like the nosebleeds of that area. I remember being going to my first UFC fight at the Toyota Center and watching Cain Velasquez fight. That was nuts to me. I remember going to Monday Night Raw, Monday Night Raw WWE, and watching all those guys going there and wrestle and all that stuff. So like I've been at those places, but I've always sat top, top. I never had I I never gotten the chance to sit like courtside or anything like that. So that was the coolest moment for me, is that the Rockets had reached out, wanted me to experience that, and now it's so cool because now we have a direct open line of contact. Be like, hey, like what's up with this game? So it's pretty cool. But I was able to take the first shot, be able to experience that, man. That was the coolest thing in the world, man. That I didn't realize how like I guess how big, like, because I never I still think I'm like just a regular person that just walks around just day to day. Like I like to kind of walk around like, it's weird even talking about saying I like to walk around as a regular person. It's super weird. Yeah, it's super weird and it sounds condescending for some reason whenever I feel like I'm saying it. But yeah, like I still see myself as just a small town kid, from LaPorte, a suburb of Houston. So like for me, I'm like, oh man, they're asking me to be here. And then the Texans had just offered me to come out. We do a rodeo every March. Every March they wanted me to come out to the Hano night, and I was able to bring my mom into like nice suite this nice suite where like it was so cool. We get to see the concert, got to see the rodeo, got to see the bull riding and everything, and it was just like, to give my mom that experience was so cool. So yeah, it's been it's been awesome, and then also the shoes. I've been getting into a little bit of shoes. I'm loving the ones. I love the low tops. My brother got me some mid tops not too long ago, and then also I got a pair of the citrus sevens. I'm not good with names right now, but I'm getting there, man. My camera guy's getting me into sneakers, and I'm just like, luckily I'm getting paid more because this is a hefty price.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I'll have to send you a picture of my collection. That's something that my wife gets angry with me about if a new pair of sneakers shows up at the house. I'm a huge fan of Jordan threes. Do you have any threes yet?
No, no, I do not. I ones, and then also these ones that the Los, I think they're the Citrus Sevens. I think off the top of my head they're Citrus Sevens, but they're right behind me. They're nice. I love them. They're my oh, man, yeah. They're amazing. I'm telling you, slowly becoming a shoe guy, and it is there's nothing there's nothing stopping me at this moment. It would just be purely becoming a shoe guy, but I'm just like, you know what? Wait till after the fight. We're gonna splurge a little bit, so I'm waiting for it.
There you go, man. Well, yeah, you got to check out some Jordan threes. You need to have one of those in your collection. And man, you keep racking up these wins and these performance bonuses. I mean, you're just going to be able to get whatever sneaker you want and as many as you'd like. Let's transition to 287 again, April the 8th, Miami, Florida. What a card to be on, man. And again, Rob Font, he's number 6 in the world. You beat him, you go right up to the top of the rankings. You're in title contention. Do you like this matchup stylistically? How do you think it benefits you one way or another?
Man, I feel like this benefits me in the sense of I'm fighting a guy who wants to strike and wants to knock me out. So I feel that it's just going to be a fun fight overall. I feel this is another fight of the night coming to you because Rob is hard to finish, but I feel like I am going to get a finish. But again, I'm not surprised if I don't. I wouldn't be surprised if I don't finish him. I have the power to put him down. I have the power to knock him out. But he's clever. He's one of those guys that's just not gonna. He's just not gonna go out. But man, this is just a perfect style matchup. This is a perfect style matchup. Two boxers. I feel like he's volume heavy. I feel like I like to be a little bit more on the defensive countering side, and I feel like this matches up with me very perfectly. And in a sense that I know he's gonna want to shoot, he's gonna want to wrestle, he's gonna want to mix it up, and I've been preparing for that. So for me on my end, this is a beautiful matchup. This is absolute beautiful, beautiful matchup. He's number 6 in the world. I go out there and I start him. That puts me right up there to have big fights right after that. That puts me right up there with right up there with those guys, man. I really can't wait. I really can't wait because it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be absolutely fun. Because man, it's gonna be fun trying to solve puzzles. And like Rob Font, he is a puzzle, but it's just one of those that I feel like I know where the pieces fit, and I just can't wait. I can't wait to show off.
You're known for your hands. Your striking is some of the best in the whole UFC. Do you feel like if you do touch him up a little bit early? I mean, you said you think he's going to shoot. Do you anticipate him to continue to try that throughout the fight if it gets later on, or do you feel like mostly this will take place on the feet?
Uh, Honestly, I'm hoping it does all take place on the feet, but again, like just because I know if it takes place on the feet, I don't put him out. This is going to be a fight of the night. This is another bonus, and I'm coming for that record for number 6 instead of being tied with Anderson Silva, Hamza Chimaev, and Justin Gaethje at 5. I want that record. I want to be number 1 in that. So for sure, I'm hoping he keeps it standing. But I know if he shoots, he will either wants to mix it up or he felt the power and he wants to try to wear that down. But again, I figured this from the beginning. Like whenever we were first coming up when that first matchup first came around, I already knew it was like he's gonna shoot, he's gonna strike, but don't be surprised within 2.5 minutes he shoots. Like he's gonna want to try to mix it up. And for me, like I've gone with some of the best wrestlers and like I got the one of the best wrestlers in like in Bellator, Rafion Stotts. I'm training with him on a day-to-day basis, and it's like I see his wrestling on a day-to-day basis that I'm just like, all these other guys who have no wrestling backgrounds, uh their shots really don't intimidate me at all. So I'm ready for it. I'm ready to see if he shoots, and if he does, I have a plan that I want to do to stay on top and beat him up.
He is 35 years old, Adrian. Do you feel like he's past his prime? Do you think he's in his prime? What do you think as far as if you've seen any slippage in his skill set?
You know what? I've seen some, but I'm just gonna attribute that to him fighting at the top level. I Man, because here's the thing is that even though he lost to Jose Aldo and he lost to Chito Vera, he never looked completely out of it. He never looked like in his fight with Chito. Yeah, Chito won the fight and he won very convincingly. But if you look at the numbers, Rob Font was throwing heavy numbers. He was out there landing good shots. Cheeto's just a tough guy, and Cheeto hits hard and just put a couple on him. So that changed the whole trajectory of the fight. So, I don't really look at Font like, how can I say it, like as him having a misstep or anything like that. But he is 35, and Mother Time has always been something crazy. Look at Frankie Edgar, who was one of the best in the world, and he couldn't handle that either. Time does age us, and it does wonders to the body where he just says, "Hey, you don't take punches anymore." So yeah. But also there's been a lot of guys, like let's just say like Yoel Romero, who made his UFC debut at 36 years old and was able to come out. Like that guy's a specimen. So like it's also one of those things that I'm not like banking on it at all. I'm not even like, I never really kind of took that into account for this camp. But if you say it's there. It's there for him. But for me, I never put it a part of what I do. I just know that I have power and I can put him down if I need to.
The one complaint that I've heard fans make about this fight is that it's not a scheduled 5 round fight. It's only 3 rounds. Do you wish this was a 5 round fight, or do you think that we're not even going to see it make it into the third?
Honestly, I wish it was a 5 round fight because I want that experience of a main event, and I want that experience of just the experience of just the main eventing. I was hoping that's why I was pushing hard for San Antonio because I feel like that would have been that, and that was before Cheeto and Corey got booked for UFC San Antonio. So for me on my end, I wanted the main event spot for UFC San Antonio. I felt like it would have been big, and also I would have got the experience of being in the main event. Also got the experience of going the 5 rounds because, again, you know. I'm under the assumption that I'm gonna go on all three, but if you ask me, I'm knocking them out. But the way I'm training. I've already been training to go 5 rounds, but I'm ready. I'm ready to go three. I don't think it goes to three, but I prepared, and I wouldn't be surprised if we go all three.
Okay, you said you're knocking him out. I mean, do you feel like this is a TKO win, or you're putting him out cold?
I feel like it's a TKO win. He's because man, again, he does a really good job of like when he takes a shot. Sometimes he does a really good job of just moving his head. Because a lot of guys when they get knocked out stiff, their head is like just centered, queued up perfectly. But he does a really good job of being able to almost like roll with the punches at times. But I feel like I can catch him. I feel like I can catch him and put him out and put him down. He can take a shot. Like he's one of those guys that can take a shot. He's never been put out cold, but yeah, he's just one of those guys he has the never die attitude, never say die attitude, and he just keeps coming. So I have to be smart about it, and I'll get him out of there.
Obviously, you're an official UFC fighter, so you can't go betting on these fights. But if you look at the odds, you're the favorite, minus 170. Rob is plus 145 as the underdog. What do you think of that? Does that surprise you? I mean, you're number 12 in the division. He's number six. Do you feel like those odds are accurate?
Honestly, honestly, I have I'm agreeing with the odds saying because I know I'm gonna win and I know I'm gonna go out there and stop him. But I do feel like it's kind of one of those things that I'm like, man, like I feel like people forget who Font is. But it might be attributed to me having the performance after performance after performance after performance that I've been having. So, uh, it probably might not be everybody's kind of forgot who he was, but it's more like no, we see the problem that is Adrian Yanez. So, uh, in a million years, if you would have told me this like 3 years ago before I was in the UFC, that if I had fought Font, that I was gonna be the favorite, I'd be like, yeah, quit fucking lying. But now that I'm here and I've done what I've done, and like me, progressing the way I've progressed and like gotten better as much as I gotten better, like now I'm just yeah, of course,
Okay.
But again, I'm not taking Font like he's the underdog. I feel I'm treating him like he's the favorite, and I have something to prove. So, man, I'm really excited.
Man, I can't wait for this fight. This is easily a main event on almost any other card that you could make. This is one that the hardcore fans can't wait to happen here, April 8th, UFC 287. You gave me your prediction on how you see this fight with Rob ending. Give me a couple of predictions for the main and the co-main. We have your doppelganger, Jorge Masvidal, is taking on Gilbert Burns in the co-main, and then obviously Izzy and Pereira in the main event. Who do you see winning those two fights?
Man, so in the main event, I got much love and respect for Israel Adesanya, and I feel if he here's the thing is he was winning that fight until he got clipped, and in that first round when he clipped Alex Pereira, if he again we can always go if he had 5 more seconds, if he had 5 more seconds, he would have got it done. And you know what? I'm just never gonna pick against Izzy, so I'm gonna go Izzy. The harder one on my end is I mean, I got much love and respect for Gilbert, and I got a lot of love and respect for Masvidal, and I really kind of hate that they're fighting, because right after the Tony Kelly fight, Gilbert Burns was doing all he could to send me the bounty, the bounty that you put on Tony Kelly. So, yeah, man, that's a hard one because it's like, Jorge Masvidal is the much more technical striker. I know Masvidal has fought better wrestlers, and uh, but the jiu-jitsu that Gilbert has is absolutely top notch, phenomenal, and he also has power in his hands, so that kind of makes everything kind of it's a fun fight. It's a really really fun fight, and I can't wait to. Hopefully, I get to watch it. But damn, I don't want to pick for this one. I don't. I'm just gonna say toss up draw. That's all I'm
Okay.
gonna say.
Fair enough, man. That's all you have to say. And I guess I don't know the answer to this, but have you ever actually met Masvidal in person and gotten your picture with him?
No, not yet. So I think fight week would be the first time. He has messaged me and we have talked a little bit on Instagram and everything, which is pretty cool. So yeah, like that's been dope. That's been dope to see. You know, it's really cool.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I'm sure you'll get that picture here in just a couple of short weeks. Adrian, always a pleasure talking to you, my man. I really appreciate the time that you give me as always. Again, April 8th, UFC 287, Adrian Yanez back in action against Rob Font, and what is a really important bantamweight fight for both men. Before we do sign off, I want to kick it over to you. Tell people where they can follow you on social media. If you have anything to plug, anyone to thank, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you so much. Follow me on Twitch at Ninja Yanez MMA or Ninja Yanez. Also, follow me on Instagram, Adrian Yanez 93. Follow me on Twitter at Yanez MMA. Also, follow me on millions.co. I do a lot of streams. I have merch drops on there as well. We just dropped a merch drop earlier today. And yeah, so millions.co. I do a lot of streams. I do fight companions on there as well. So yeah, follow me on there. Yeah, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your platform. Thank you so much, man.